So hello everyone and welcome to Canterbury, specifically Westgate Towers. Right behind me is the Westgate Towers building. This is a medieval gatehouse that was built in the 1370s and was completed in around 1380. It is the only surviving medieval gate in Canterbury. There were 7 originally, and this is the only one that's still standing today. And it's one of the most recognisable buildings in the whole of Canterbury. It's a local landmark, and you can see the Westgate from pretty much all the way down the High Street. What's really fascinating about this gate is that although this is over 600 years old, the building that you can see now, there was originally a Roman gate that was standing here before and was built in the 3rd century. So the original Roman gate was built in around 270 to 280 AD, and when the Norman invasions happened, they still found the Roman gate intact. This means that there's been a gate on this location for a very long time, and it means that it's one of the most historic points in the whole city. This is also an important spot because this is the gate that leads to London. So for obvious reasons, London being the capital city, there was a lot of traffic coming to and from the city of London, and if you wanted to come from London or leave to London, you had to go through this gate in medieval times, so it grew up very quickly. Originally, this gate was built as a fortification, as a defence mechanism, as part of the 100 Years' War. So the 100 Years' War was a conflict that was between the kingdoms of England and France, but it also involved other European nations. And originally, the gatehouse would have been part of a larger fortification, including city walls, and served as an important spot for defence for the city. So this is a real focal point for the city. It's a very popular tourist spot, and just adjacent to it is the very popular Westgate Gardens, which is just on the banks of the River Stour and is a really popular spot with tourists and people coming to enjoy the city of Canterbury. So inside Westgate Towers is a museum. I'm going to go inside now and check out the museum, see what it's like. And hopefully I'm going to be able to go up to the top of the towers and check out the views. So the Westgate Towers design has been attributed to the royal architect called Henry Yeovil, and it was built and commissioned by the then Archbishop of Canterbury, Simon Sudbury, as well as being supplemented by local taxes. So this is the entrance to the museum. It's on Pound Lane. This is the entrance to the museum. There's a bar in there, and up these stairs is the way to the museum. Now walking over the iron bridge that connects the 2 buildings. So this is the entrance to the Westgate Towers, and this building here is 1 Pound Lane, and you can just see the river down there. So I'm now in the main hall of the museum. The entrance to get in is £4, and this is a really fascinating, very historic room with lots of different exhibition cabinets. So it's important to remember that this building, although it was originally built as a defence mechanism, as a fortification, it soon became a prison. So the building was completed in approximately 1380, but by 1453 it had become the city jail. And that is the main part of the exhibition that you see today in the museum. It's relating to the jail facilities that they had here. The Westgate Towers were actually the first structural building in England to be designed for firearms. So there are outlets for guns and for cannons, and you can see that on the exterior of the towers. This shows how important it was for the building to have defense capabilities. And at that point, it was very advanced technologically speaking for the time, and obviously it was very important for defense reasons to be able to fire from the towers. So in the entrance hall, there are lots of photos, and they've got these cabinets with historical artifacts. So here you've got some muskets, and I think those are cannonballs at the bottom. We've got a gun or a cannon. This is a cabinet about the First World War. As I understand it, the building was used for garrisons in the First World War. And this is all about the Second World War air raids. So Canterbury was hit by the Battlements air raids in 1942 and left a very strong mark on the city as a lot of buildings got destroyed. This is a fantastic fire back piece, and it dates to 1648. And if you look at the features, you can see English rose, Scottish thistle, and the French fleur-de-lis. So there's some insignia there relating to the royal households. So here you can see another interesting feature on the floor. These are called murder holes, and these were holes in the tower so that you could drop boiling water and objects onto attackers who are trying to come into the city. So this is a replica portcullis or tower gate, and this is where it would have been. And when the towers were built, the Rivers Tower was actually right in front of the towers itself. And if you look down here, you can actually see the cars passing by underneath the towers. So it's still a road that is used today, and I think it's only large buses and coaches that can't come through the tower because they're too big. So yeah, this is still a fully working road. So off the main hall is this staircase, and this goes up to the top of the tower, and there's also a room down the bottom called the debtors' cell. So as you can see, the stairway is very steep, and they do have ropes to help you go up. But because of the age of this building, that's why these are such steep steps. And here you can see what they've got. So up is the battlements, and downstairs is the debtors' cell. And it says here the tower is home to 2 retired rescue cats. I haven't actually seen any cats yet, but I will be looking out for them. Right, so you do have to concentrate relatively hard when you're going down the steps, because they are quite steep, and you've only got a rope to help you. So yeah. Interestingly, the towers are very cool. I think you get that when you have a big old stone building. It absorbs the heat very well, so even though it's quite a hot day today, it's nice and fresh and cool in the towers. So this cell down here is known as the debtors' cell, and this is where people were sent for not repaying their debts to the city or to anybody else. Let's have a look inside and see what it's like. And have a look at this door. The door looks truly ancient, with all the old rusty locks and bolts. So this is the inside of the debtors' cell. You can see it's got a very high ceiling, and it's really got that medieval feel to it. So interestingly, the debtors' cell has now got this exhibition of knights and noblemen who were signatories to the Magna Carta in 1215. And there's one even on the floor there as well. The men portrayed in these maquettes played a key role in persuading King John to set his seal on Magna Carta, one of the most famous historical documents in the English-speaking world. So yeah, this is super interesting. The Magna Carta was really the first constitution or written constitution, and it influenced a lot of law, English law especially, but also it influenced law in other countries like in America. So you can see on the plaque who all the different people are and who made the sculptures as well. So it's actually easier climbing up the stairs than it is going down them, weirdly. Yeah, but you do just have to pay attention that you're holding onto the rope. Okay, so I'm now going up to the battlement, or the viewing point on the top of the tower. Very sunny today. Really good day to come and visit these towers. Yeah, so it's actually really quiet here today. I think I'm the only visitor. So yeah, it's not really overcrowded, which I'm surprised by. I thought it would be busier. So here you can get a really good idea of the defense building. It's almost like the top of a castle, this aspect here. And you've got the turret at the top. And they've got these areas for firearms or even cannons that go at the top. And from here you get a really good view of the high street. It goes all the way down. Canterbury's got a very long high street. Very busy today. It's right in the middle of the summer and the school holidays. And you can see the traffic coming through the gate. So just to the left you can see Canterbury Cathedral. It's got scaffolding on it at the moment because I imagine it's been cleaned or renovated, which is actually quite normal. It's always being renovated at some point. And then to the left of that you can see the Marlow Theatre, the modern building. That is the largest theatre in the whole of Kent, and it serves as a focal point for plays and shows and pantomime and things like that. And on the other side you can see St Dunstan Street and the area of St Dunstan's. Right at the end of this street is the London Road, the road that leads to London. So this was always the direction that was taken to head towards London, meaning that the towers were always in a strategic location. So let's have a look in this room here. This room represents one of the jail cells, and we've got a model of an inmate with his bread, and we've even got some toy rats for authenticity here. So you can see here on this plaque how the building was used as the city jail from 1453 to 1868. This would have been one of the holding rooms for prisoners, I imagine. And here we've got a maquette of the Gatehouse. Yeah, so really interesting different types of exhibitions, photos, what it looked like during the war. Here you've got some information about the Blitz when Canterbury was hit, air raids, and how it was used in the wars. Yeah, really fascinating exhibition room. So there are a few signs on the outlets describing how some prisoners actually escaped from the towers. And there's one here in 1866, George Nell escaped from here by jumping over the side, having his fall broken by a passing hay cart. So there were obviously lots of attempts to escape from the jail, and jumping off the side was a popular method. And just down at the bottom you can see Westgate Gardens and the River Stour. They quite often have punts going down the river, but I can't see any today. So the building itself is made from Kentish ragstone and has been preserved incredibly well. I can hardly believe that the building itself is over 600 years old. It's incredible that it's still in such good condition now. Westgate Towers is a really fantastic museum to visit, and for just £4 I think it's quite good value for money. It's not a big museum. You can look around it in probably an hour and get a really good benefit from all there is to see here. And because it's such an important landmark in the city, it's actually quite easy to walk past it and not really pay any attention to it or to even notice it. But once you scratch the surface, you realise that there is loads of interesting history that goes with it, and there's always an interesting story that lies behind what you can see. So just off the main hall is this exhibition room, and it tells some of the history of when the towers were the city jail, and you can see the dates of when it was the city jail there. And here you can see some of the manacles, handcuffs, and even traps that they used to catch people, and some very old keys which were used to lock people up, I imagine. So you can even see a whip, some chains, and I think that looks like a branding iron, a padlock, a Bible, a seal. So lots of really interesting artifacts. And here you can see the history about when this became the police station and a bit of history about the Canterbury Police itself. So as I understand it, the number 1 Pound Lane was the police station. Yeah, so you can see here. So not actually the towers, but the building adjacent to it was the police station after it ceased to be a jail. And you can see the iron bars protecting the windows as well, so that people couldn't escape. So most of these rooms are quite small. I imagine it would have been very crowded for the inmates who were locked up in here. It must have been quite squalid, uncomfortable conditions. This is the ground floor of the museum, and this is known as 1 Pound Lane. And this originally was also part of the jail, and then it became the police station for Canterbury. And now it is this very trendy bar that you can see, which serves food and drink. And they've actually kept a lot of the original features, including these cells that they've turned into small booths for guests and customers to come and enjoy. So this is the 1 Pound Lane building. It's almost like the extension to the Westgate Towers, and there you've got the bridge that connects them together. So this was originally built as a jail as well to support the main towers, and then it became the police station in 1870. Since then it's had sort of various incarnations, like the Kent Music School, and now it's the bar that you see inside, known as the Pound. So it's called the Pound because it's on Pound Lane, and this is where the city pound was originally, which was an area for keeping livestock and animals, and hence why it's called the Pound now. Now I'm just passing through the passage between 1 Pound Lane and the Westgate Towers over to the other side next to the river. Very nice day today, so there are a lot of people sitting out. And here you can see the River Stour. So the city's relatively busy. It's the middle of the summer, coming towards the end of August, and the weather's really good. So quite a lot of tourists in the town. And you can see they've got these two very sturdy tower shapes and then the gate going through the middle. And I think you can see where the drawbridge would have come down. So now this is just a normal bridge, but it would have been a drawbridge before. If you look closely, you can see the outlets where guns and even small cannon would have been fired from to protect the city from invasion or attack. This is the very popular Westgate Gardens, where you can take Westgate punt if you like that kind of thing. Yep, so along the banks of the River Stour, it's a very popular spot for tourists and locals to come and chill out, especially when the weather's good like this. Westgate Gardens on a nice sunny day like this is a really fantastic place to spend time and hang out. And you can also get a really good view of the river and the towers, the Westgate Towers. Yeah. So a lot of people come here to take photos. And we got some ducks preening themselves in the cool water. So from here you can get a really good view of the towers from outside of the city. So this was the side that potential invaders or attackers would have seen. And yeah, it's just incredible that it's still in such good condition after over 600 years. So it's obviously built with very good quality materials, the Kentish ragstone, and was designed very well, and it stood the test of time, as you can see. So I definitely recommend coming to visit Westgate Towers in Canterbury city centre. It's an absolutely beautiful building that's been really well preserved, and the museum inside at £4 is really good value for money, with some fascinating exhibitions and artefacts. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, as there might be some future content that is up your street or that you might enjoy. Thanks for watching and take care. Bye from Canterbury.